Well, you might want to check out the bill yourself, because if you think it's only rifles that's going to be banned by this legislation, you are sadly mistaken.
Now, the latest bill is similar to a 2023 bill which failed to pass after 3 Democrats.
House lawmakers introduced a bill that would ban the sale and transfer of assault weapons here in Colorado.
Gun reform bills this session, the House even holding rare weekend sessions to get it done.
Over an assault weapons ban, the bill making it past the House Judiciary Committee, but will it go any further? That answer is unclear tonight.
After a last-minute adjustment eliminated financial penalties, which would have sent the bill to another committee and substituted a minor offense charge, the legislation, HB 24-1292, passed the House Judiciary Committee and is now headed directly to the House floor. Prior to resuming the Senate process, the proposal must still pass the House with 2 floor votes. Aside from other high-powered firearms with diverse functions, the measure's definition of attack weapons encompasses semi-auto rifles and pistols with fixed large-capacity mags or those that can accept detachable mags. The possession of weapon is not prohibited by the bill.
House lawmakers introduced a bill that would ban the sale and transfer of assault weapons here in Colorado.
Now, looking closer, just because a gun bill becomes law doesn't mean the fight is over.
Democrats who run the whole show at the Capitol did not agree with each other on restrictions on so-called assault weapons last year.
Margin, if possible, and I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, and I'm sorry to say that.
We are aware of the constant danger of mass slayings and public slayings, which typically result in 10 or more fatalities, but little to no injuries among the survivors. We are aware that those persist until bold, data-driven policy reform is implemented, stated Representative Elizabeth Epps, who was co-sponsoring the bill with Representative Tim Hernandez. They are both Democrats from Denver. On a 7-3 party line vote, the bill was approved by the committee. Last year, a similar bill that Epps was a sponsor of failed in the House Judiciary. 11 months ago, 2 Democrats on the committee abstained from voting, and both of their replacements supported the measure. Colorado Springs Democrat Representative Mark Snyder, who abstained from voting as well last year, was excused on Tuesday night. As the hearing has gone on, the majority of those making public comments have been against the firearms law. Even now, some hours after the meeting started and more than 6 hours in, the committee room is still packed. The committee may decide to hold off on voting until after midnight. Despite the fact that most of the testimony from Hernandez's supporters and opponents went through without any problems, one woman was asked to leave the room after cursing at him. Opponents of the law said that it would completely destroy Colorado's arm industry and violate their right to self-defense. Owner of Grandpa's Pawn and Arm in Longmont, Rod Bradenberg, told lawmakers, "We have sold over 100,000 arms that have never been involved in a mass slaying, and you want to penalize us." He has been in business for more than 75 years. There are still supporters of the bill around, easily identified by the red shirts they wear to express their support for arm control. A sophomore at Denver's East High School named Grant Kramer talked about the slayings that shocked his school the previous year.
The goal of this march is to get their beloved teacher, Mr. Hernandez, his job back.
Today, hundreds of students, parents, and community members in the North Side held a walkout in support of North High teacher Tim Hernandez.
He's advocated for more inclusive policies, but he is encouraging people who don't agree with him to listen to the voices of young people.
Chicano! A teenager who subsequently committed suicide shot 2 administrators, and weeks before, another student was shot and slayed outside the school. Students staged multiple marches to the Capitol to seek answers from lawmakers in reaction to the slayings, which incited outcry from the community. How many more school slayings must I go through before our state comes together and declares that citizens can hunt and defend themselves without AR-15s? Stated Kramer. Similar themes surfaced as the first public commenters on Tuesday morning started testifying in favor of and against the attack weapons measure. The plan, which would outlaw the sale and acquisition of some semi-auto arms, is being supported as a response to the frequent mass slayings that have occurred in Colorado and across the United States. The kind of weapons that the law would restrict have been used in high-casualty mass slayings, including 3 in Colorado.
Bills have passed the Senate, but they may hit some roadblocks in the House.
Gun reform bills this session, the House even holding rare weekend sessions to get it done.
This gun violence, a local teacher and community organizer plans to take a stand in the state House.
There's a lot of really important perspective that I think is often missed in the state legislature because of the way that our systems are built.
Fewer than 100 people gathered together to select Colorado's newest state legislator, because that's how Republicans and Democrats around here fill vacancies.
Boulder Democrat Representative Judy Amabile questioned one opponent about whether or not he believed that Americans were simply more monstrous than their counterparts abroad. Denver Democrat Representative Javier Mabray said to a group of proponents of arm rights, "There was a study released last year. The United States has had 57 times as many school slayings as every other G7 country combined. The United States, Canada, Japan, Germany, Italy, France, and the United Kingdom make up the group of 7.
But I don't want to lead that because I don't want to be silent. And here in Colorado, we're behind a lot of other states in we need an assault weapons ban, and we need better mental health care services for people. We need to, because it was so impactful to be there and to hear the stories of the people who wanted that law to pass.
Original story. A lengthy committee hearing concerning the sale and transfer of various semi-auto rifles in Colorado began on Tuesday. Hundreds of supporters and opponents have registered to testify in favor of the bill, which is expected to pass on its first vote. The bill, HB 24-1292, would make it illegal for anybody in Colorado to manufacture, import, sell, or buy so-called attack weapons. Congressman Hernandez and Epps, both Democrats from Denver, are the bill's sponsors. The House Judiciary Committee slayed a similar bill on the anniversary of the Columbine High School slaying last year. The measure will be voted on by the same committee on Tuesday.
A former DPS teacher will now serve as the representative for District 4 in the Colorado legislature.
Yeah, Tim Hernandez tells me that he is currently contracted as a teacher through CU at Urban Peak.
To make sure that every kid in the state of Colorado, if they're required to be at school, has the right to a free meal.
Tim Hernandez will fill a seat in Northwest Denver as the first member of Gen Z to serve as a state lawmaker.
But because over 500 persons have registered to testify, the vote might not take place until early on Wednesday morning. However, 2 of the lawmakers who opposed the bill last year have been replaced on the committee by progressives who are co-sponsoring it.
Several gun bills passed by Colorado lawmakers last year are now facing legal challenges
over an assault weapons ban. The bill making it past the House Judiciary Committee, but will it go any further? That answer is unclear tonight.
Unfortunately, in the state, if it gets all the way to the governor, which I don't think it will, it'll be signed, but I don't think it's going to happen.
This increases the likelihood that the bill will pass out of committee. There is a high probability that Epps and Hernandez will make some small modifications to the measure that pertains to the transfer and conveyance of the weapons. In the event that the legislation was to be adopted on Tuesday, it would be transferred to the House Finance Committee before being brought to the floor of the House. In his opening remarks before the House Judiciary Committee, Hernandez, a teacher who was 27 years old and a new member of Congress, described his life as having paralleled the nation's ongoing wave of mass slayings, which began with the Columbine slaying in 1999 and continued with the slayings at Aurora and Sandy Hook in 2012, as well as the slaying at STEM School Highlands Ranch in 2019. Hernandez made the following statement: "I've been living with this throughout my entire life. From 2009 to 2022, in 9 out of 10 instances of mass slayings that resulted in the greatest number of victims, at least one attack weapon was utilized by the perpetrator.
Outspoken teacher let go by DPS is now on administrative leave for the remainder of the school year.
What saw happen here was the same issues that I lived through as a young person in this community are still happening to our young people. The principal of my school has called me aggressive and attacking, coded language that is hurtful and detrimental to men of color.
And he says that he plans on bringing his advocacy for communities of color with him.
It means that I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for a generation of young people who lived through mass shootings.
Throughout my entire life, I have encountered this. In all candor, I have reached the point where I am finished waiting. Dozens of individuals who support the right to bear arms staged the demonstration in front of the Capitol on Tuesday morning. The committee room in the Capitol was completely full, and an additional space was created somewhere else in the building to accommodate the additional attendees. A live audio recording of the committee meeting can be found here. The bill is opposed by an overwhelming majority of Republicans, and even if it is passed into law, organizations that advocate for stricter arm control have pledged to challenge it in court. During the opening questioning of the committee, Republicans raised concerns about the role that firearms play in the occurrence of armed crime. In response, Democrats listed the numerous tragic slayings that have been associated with firearms due to the special lethality of these pieces of equipment. Legislative Democrats are in favor of a number of initiatives pertaining to arm control this year, including the piece of legislation in question. A different plan to restrict the venues in Colorado where firearms can be carried will be discussed by a committee on Wednesday. Other proposals will also be considered. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.